Hey guys, welcome back. Let's do a full tier list of the game Kaiju number 8. I'm gonna rank each of the characters over here. Doesn't matter the 5-star or the 4-star ones, and also talk a little bit about them and see why they're in that kind of tier and what's good about them, so that you know which character you want to use the most. And obviously the game has just launched, and this tier list is just like the first tier list that we're gonna have, and probably some rankings will change in the future, but this is it for now. So let's start with the first character, Kaiju number 8 himself. He is an easy S tier character, and there's lots of tier lists online. If you check them, obviously it might have some differences with what I'm going to put over here, but the most common ones is the Kaiju and also Reno Ichikawa being at the S tier. So these two are, without any questions, at the S tier, and it's not in order. I'm just gonna put them over here, but you can change like the way they're standing. So first of all, Reno Ichikawa has two attributes, ice and shot. So this is the most important part over here, having different attributes in your team. And obviously if a character has two, then that's obviously an advantage over there. So has the dot or damage over time skill with his ice crystal, and then applies this ice dot to other kaijus as well with his skills. And then his ultimate increases crit rate, is AoE, and has the chance to freeze the enemies and delay their action or their speed. With one dupe, also increases his crit damage, so it's worth getting a dupe of him to increase the crit damage. And then Kaiju number 8 himself is also one of the best DPS characters in the game. Also is a tanky one. Is like a hybrid character, a tank and also a DPS. Buffs his damage and crit damage, taunts the enemies, and also increases his own defense. That's why I'm saying tank. And kills mini kaijus instantly if their HP is below 50%. And then with his passives, first of all, he doesn't have any weapons. Being kaiju doesn't carry any weapons. So you might think that's like a disadvantage, but then it's the exact opposite, because he'll be very good from beginning, like from start of the game, because you don't need to get 5-star weapons on him, and he also has higher stats compared to other characters, so it's not a disadvantage not having a weapon. And then we'll go to our third like S tier character, would definitely be Gen Narumi. So yeah, he also has two attributes, slash and shot. So as we talked, having two attributes, it's already an advantage for any of the characters. He has AoE combat skill and also AoE ultimate. And if you have two dupes of him, he will increase his crit rate as well. That's why he's super good, and I'll put him in S tier. And then the last character that I want to put in the S tier is kind of like a shock to me, because this guy, Shinomiya, he changed my mind. I thought like he isn't that good, but then I read every single skills of him one by one, and he actually changed my mind. So he's a defender. He's the tankiest unit that we have. The scales up with his defense. His ultimate and combat skills are based on his defense, and he gives shield to all your units. So based on his defense, he's going to give the shield to all of your units. And then also, when your allies have shield, increases their damage dealt as well. So you'll have the shield with this guy, and also increase your damage as well. And then he also resurrects with 25% of his max HP with two dupes, and he gets better and better with dupes, and especially for later on. So maybe in the beginning when you just started the game, he won't be that much necessary, because first stages are usually easy contents and you don't need like a defender. You just want to go all attack, but then later on you'll want to have a balanced team, and he could be super useful, and then you'll have the items and resources to maybe dupe him out or just level him up and increase his defense. That's why he will be super good later on. So that's the 4 characters for S tier, and then we'll go to the A character, like the A tier characters. First of all, like, I mean, it's not in order again, but obviously the other 5-star characters will be here in the A tier. So Mina Shiro has damage taken reduction, buffs up when attacking a giant class kaiju, and after 3 normal or combat attacks gets a guaranteed crit attack. But then if you increase her level cap to 40, you'll get 1 stack of focus at the start of the battle, and you only need 2 regular attacks to have a guaranteed crit rate. So a guaranteed crit attack after just using 2 or 3 normal or combat attacks would be super good, and also very useful compared to like against giant class kaijus. And then this Hoshina, he has AoE combat skill, and his crit rate and crit damage increase easily with his ultimate and passive. So he scales up with his crit rate and crit damage, which you can, increase with his ultimate and passives if you level him up. And then we have Kikoro Shinomiya. I mean, she's also good, not as good as these two. She debuffs the enemy by lowering their defense, and also has AoE combat skill. So just the reason I put her over here is mainly because of debuffing the enemies and lowering their defense, so that you can attack with your other characters and your main DPS. And then we have Rin Shinonome. She also has AoE combat skill, and also her follow-up skill is also AoE, so that's a unique trait that she has. Others follow-up skill is just single attack target, but then her follow-up skill is AoE. That's something really good for her. And then with her passives, fills up her ultimate gauge and increases her damage dealt. So it gets better, like she gets better when the battle gets longer, but then again, not the first choice as the 5-star characters. And then we also have other, so those are all our like 5-star characters, like 8 of them that we have at the moment, and then the rest are just the 4-star ones. But we also have really good units over here. So first of all, where is she? Over here. So Akari Minase, she's our second defender, like after him, but she's mainly a healer, not a defender in my opinion. So defender / healer, because her ultimate recovers all of your allies, like all allies in your team. Her ultimate recovers, and then her combat skill recovers one of your allies' HP, and also increases the ultimate charge rate, and scales up with her own HP. That's why you want to build her up with the best HP that you can get. And then she's going to heal. Like the only healer that we have in the game at the moment is her, so she's a must-have unit, especially when it goes like later on harder stages and you need a healer. I mean, she's your only option, and she is really good at the moment with her stats and all her skills. That's why make sure to get use of her. And then another character that could be super useful is this guy, Ryo Ikaruga. He's a supporter, like best used as a supporter, increases speed and damage dealt of, again, all of your allies with his ultimate. So like by having him and using his ultimate, you're gonna have increased damage dealt and speed for all your team. Also with his passive, increases all allies attack, and then again with level limit 80 applies additional attack buff to all your allies. So he's a great supporter. Like he doesn't do much himself like as a single character, but then he's a supporter to buff up all your other characters in your team, and then you can attack heavier with your main DPS. And then I'm gonna put a third character, like a third 4-star character over here, the Mina Shiro, the 4-star Mina Shiro. I'm gonna put her over here as well. The reason is with her morale skill, like her combat skill, she applies morale to one of your characters, and morale will increase the damage dealt and combat skill damage of that ally. So basically she's going to support one of your allies, like let's say your main DPS, and she will buff your main DPS. And additionally, after activating a normal attack or ultimate, will increase the attack of that ally with morale. So pretty good supporter to buff up your main DPS even more. That's why I'm putting her over here. Now let's quickly go to the rest of the tier list. So in the B tier list, I'm gonna put, we don't need D actually, let me just remove this. So we have S, A, B, and C, the ones that we're not gonna use kind of like at all. But in the B tier list, we have Kafka. You're gonna get him for free, obviously, your first character, and you're gonna get lots of dupes of him when doing the beginners or rookies challenge. I don't remember the name exactly, but you're gonna get dupes of him just by playing the game. He transforms to Kaiju number 8 with his ultimate, recovers his HP to 100%, and all his stats will increase. So it's a huge buff for himself. Lowers down the enemy's defense with his combat skill and increases his own speed. When transformed, his combat skill will also be AoE. So you're not going to use him later on, but just in the beginning, if you don't have these characters, could be useful. And then we have this character, Haruchiya Izumo, AoE ultimate, and randomly removes a buff from the enemy. Also has AoE combat skill. Chance to apply attack down on the enemy, also has a chance to apply speed down on the enemy. And after doing follow-up attack, randomly removes 1 debuff from one of your allies. So you might say that's a lot of skills that this character has, and yeah, that's true, but then it's not a guaranteed debuff on the enemy. That's why I'll put this character over here in the B tier. And then this guy, Iharu Furuhashi, he's going to be in the B tier. And even though he has like 2 attributes, the lightning and shot, and he's the only character at the moment in the game having the lightning attribute, he doesn't do actually much. I mean, he only has the chance to apply defense down and also a chance to apply shock dot with his lightning attribute. That's why he'll be over here. And then we also have another 2 attribute character, Nakanoshima over here. She's also the only character at the moment that has a fire attribute as well. And she's good by herself, but doesn't bring anything to your other characters and your team like these other like characters that we have in the S and A tier. That's why she'll be over here in the B tier. So she has 2 attributes, shot and fire, applies damage dealt and dot damage multiplier buff to herself with her ultimate, and then a chance to apply burn dot with her combat skill. So it's not a guaranteed, it's just a chance to have this burn continuous damage on the enemy. And then we have 2 more characters to put in this B tier. So we have Keiji Itami, has chance to stun with his ultimate, chance to apply poison dot with his combat skill, and then with his passive, when he doesn't get attacked after attacking, applies stealth on himself and buffs up his shot damage, and with 1 dupe no SPs will be consumed. So again, not the best character, but has those kind of techniques. And then I'm gonna put the 4-star Hoshina over here in the B tier. Increases the speed of his battle buddy. I mean, he's also a really good supporter, kind of similar to this one over here, but I'm gonna put him in the A tier because he buffs up the whole team. On the other hand, the 4-star Hoshina only buffs up his battle buddy, so the one that you pair him with to do the follow-up attack. So increases the speed of his battle buddy, the one that he's paired to, and also randomly removes one of their debuffs. Also increases the crit damage of his battle buddy if SP is 1 or less. When limit level 40, with his first additional passive, increases his normal attack and his battle buddy's normal attack damage. If you have 1 dupe of him, increases battle buddy's crit rate, and then if you have 2 dupes, increases follow-up attack damage of all allies. So you need to have 2 dupes to have the buffs for all of your allies, and he might go even here in the A tier, But then since I already put a supporter over here and he's only linked to one of your characters that is paired to him, I'm just putting here in the B tier, but then easily can go A tier, right, depending on your team. That's why it's not like a fixed choice, so it's either one of these two. Maybe I'll just put him at the first part, so he'll probably be like at top of B tier or like in these part of A tier. It's still a great supporter. And then we have the rest of the characters, like these 5 will go over here, and they're not really that good compared to the other characters, so they won't be your first choice. But then again, just to give you a small explanation of them, this 4-star Shinomiya is great for the final blow as she buffs up when attacking a core exposed kaiju, but then nothing else. And then we have Kaguragi or Zoro from One Piece. Like, they look so much like each other. He also has 2 attributes. Like, these 3 characters also have 2 attributes, as you can see: wind and shot, blunt and shot, and then ice and shot. But then the problem with these 3 characters is that only one of their skills has both of the attributes to attack. For example, Kaguragi, his combat skill has both wind and shot skills. So his ultimate doesn't have the wind attribute, and his normal attack also doesn't have the wind attribute. But then again, with his combat skill applies the wind dot, and then has HP recovery every turn for himself, and at limit level 40 has damage reduction as well. So I'm just putting it here over here, that's just my personal opinion, but then if you think you're okay with all those skills, then obviously you could go up. And then we have Hasegawa, has 2 attributes again, as we talked, but then only his combat skill does the blunt damage and the rest is just shot damage. He also has a chance to stun the enemy with his combat skill. His ultimate is also AoE and is pretty good for follow-up attack, as it increases with his level limit passive. And then we have Kota Tachibana, our 3rd defender in the game, has also 2 attributes. So you might want to pair him with Reno, because they both have ice. But then again, you can have better characters to just pair up with Reno. Only his ultimate can do the ice attack and can freeze the enemy like Reno as well, lowers down the enemy's attack too. But then as he also has a higher chance to get targeted by the enemy, by the kaijus. And then we have this 4-star Reno, which basically does nothing, so he'll be here. And yeah, that's it. This is the full tier list of Kaiju number 8. And as the global launch has started, this is just my personal opinion based on their skills. I try to read every single character's skills and passives and see how good they are. And maybe you won't agree with this tier list with some of the characters, but I think this is a pretty solid one. And you can always go for whoever you want and your favorite. This is just my insights and ideas of the characters that we have at the moment. And obviously, if something comes up and gets updated, I will change this out and also update you guys as well. Let me know down in comment section what are your thoughts and who are your favorite characters, what's your opinion on the game, and which characters you're looking forward to level up in your game. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well. Till next time, have fun and stay tuned.